shocking prayer of Saint Benedict revealed. It brings children back to God and drives out evil. Few knew what truly happened that night in the shadowed corners of the old monastery. Tales whispered through the halls spoke of a sacred power, a prayer so potent it could summon the divine and wrestle down evil itself. The flickering candlelight painted ghostly shapes on the stone walls, where monks cloaked in worn robes knelt in fervent prayer, their faces a blend of desperation and hope. It was the year 543 AD, in a remote corner of Italy, where the air was thick with the scent of incense and secrets. The Roman Empire lay broken, faith wavered, and dark forces thrived in the twilight of society. Among the solemn figures, one monk, Benedict of Nursia, stirred a profound change. With a heart full of fury against the burgeoning evil, he turned to the Scripture seeking a remedy. "Lord, protect us. Let not our children stray into temptation." His voice, once a whisper, now echoed like thunder, capturing the attention of not only his brethren, but something far more ominous lurking just beyond the flickering shadows. As his hands clutched the ancient text, legends told of miracles igniting. The ground trembled beneath their feet. When he uttered the prayer, water turned to wine, the blind saw, and the possessed shouted in agony. How could mere words wield such force? Heavy doubts gnawed at the hearts of the faithful. Was this divine mercy, or a call to arms against an unseen foe? The air was electric, charged with the uncertainty and collective resolve of the monks. Yet, some question lingered. Were they merely bowing to superstition? What lay beneath the surface of their faith? Outside the walls, townsfolk spoke of strange sights. Flickering lights in the woods, echoes of laughter twisted into screams. Children whom they once knew as innocent wandered into darkness, their eyes glazed over with a vacant stare. "It can't be," gasped an old woman, clenching her rosary so tightly her knuckles turned white. The monastery was their last hope. Urgency filled the room as the monks gathered around Benedict. "We must find the truth," whispered one, his voice faltering. They had awakened something. Now, it was up to them to confront evil facing it head-on, or risk losing everything they held dear. Would they have the strength to protect their children? As the floor shook with fear and resolve, a chilling realization settled. The battle was only beginning. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. In the stillness that followed Benedict's fervent prayer, a silence fell over the monks that was palpable and heavy. Each face turned toward their leader, eyes reflecting a whirlwind of fear and anticipation. Outside, the winds howled like restless spirits, rustling the trees and sending cold fingers of dread through the narrow windows of the monastery. It was clear that something profound had been ignited, and yet uncertainty threaded through the hearts of the faithful. Benedict, feeling the weight of their gazes, understood the gravity of the moment. He opened his eyes, which glimmered with a fierce light, as if the Holy Spirit itself coursed through him. "Brothers," he began, his voice steady yet filled with an unnameable power, "we stand at the precipice of a great trial. The darkness seeks to consume us, and it has marked our children as its prey. We must take this battle beyond the confines of these walls." "What can we do, Benedict?" questioned another monk, a man known for his wisdom, but now gripped by fear. "We are but simple men, devoted to prayer and contemplation. How can we confront the evil that lurks in the shadows?" Benedict's mind raced with the urgency of their call. "Our prayers have stirred something that lies beyond our understanding. But we carry the power of God within us. We shall return to the townspeople, and unite them in this struggle. We must remind them of the light and the protective arms of the Lord. With our faith, we can draw them back from the brink that the darkness has pushed them to. Whispers of resolve swept through the monks as they nodded, their determination slowly rising. They prepared to set forth, gathering sacred relics and preparing their hearts. The prayers that had once brought them solace would now take on a new form as instruments of hope for those beset by an unseen malevolence. As they made their way into the town, the night felt thick with sorrow and despair, the air damp with an oppressive tension. They saw the flickers of lights in the distance, shadows of children darting through the alleyways, children who had once been filled with laughter but now seemed to be conduits for something dark and twisted. An old woman stood at the edge of the marketplace, her face sallow with fear. "Help them. They are not who they were," she pleaded, clutching a rusted iron candlestick that had seen better days. "They are lost." Benedict approached her, his heart swelling with compassion. "Fear not, for the Lord has not abandoned them. With prayer, we will guide them home." He raised his voice, calling the townsfolk to gather, men, women, and children spurred on by the vision of a community unified in spirit against the encroaching darkness. As the townspeople gathered, an eerie wind swept through, chilling them to the bone. Strange sounds filled the air, and the flickering lights began to coalesce into forms, twisted shapes manifested as children, yet their eyes were void of life. The breath of the town held its collective silence as the air thickened, as if the very fabric of reality was bending under the weight of something unholy. Benedict stepped forward, his heart thundering in his chest. "In the name of our Lord, I call upon you, dark spirits. Withdraw from these innocent souls. Let them be restored." Yet, as the words left his lips, only mockery echoed back. The forms swirled and danced, laughter unsettling and cruel. "Benedict," a voice taunted though it had no face, "do you think mere words can change what is meant to be?" His courage faltered momentarily, their challenge echoing deep within him. The vision before him flickered, and for a fleeting moment he felt doubt gnaw at his resolve. Were these prayers just rituals? Or was there truly power within them? In that moment of uncertainty, indeed, a new reflection surged through the air. The struggle was not just against external evil, but against his own faltering spirit. Benedict closed his eyes and focused, seeking divine strength. "Lord, let my doubt dissolve in the light of truth. Guide me through this darkness." What strength would emerge to confront the shadows? What is it within us that empowers such prayers to rise against the unseen? In the heart of the monastery, the battle had truly just begun. As the echoes of taunting laughter faded into the stillness, a profound stillness took hold of the crowd. In the depth of despair, their hearts wavered. Mothers clutched their children tightly, fathers stood ready to defend but feeling hopeless, and all but the brave few turned toward the mercy of their leader, drawing upon the mutual strength of their faith. Benedict took a deep breath. The oppressive weight of the air pressed down, yet a flicker ignited in his heart, a fierce flame of resolve kindled by the prayers of those around him. "Brothers and sisters, take heart. What matters is not the power of these spirits, but the strength of our unity and faith. We are not alone in this battle," he proclaimed, his voice rising above the somber wind. He turned to the townsfolk, eyes glistening with urgency. "Each of you carries the breath of God within you. Together, we can shatter this darkness. Pray with me, for our hearts have the power to sever the chains binding these children." As he raised his arms and began to chant sacred prayers lifted from the Psalms, the monks followed suit, their voices blending into a harmonious plea that resonated through the cold night air. The sounds formed a living entity, rising and swirling like a mist, intertwining with hope as it enveloped the town. The tether between heaven and earth strained. The very fabric of existence flickered under the weight of their devotion. With each syllable, the twisted figures of the children recoiled, their ghastly laughter fading into sobs of confusion. The air filled with a palpable energy, A sweet fragrance, like blossoms in spring, accompanied their prayers. It felt as if a light began to break through the veil, touching the hearts of those once lost. But then, with a chilling resonance, the laughter returned, darker and more sinister. What can your prayers do, when they are nothing but echoes of unwanted despair? The voice thundered again, a cacophony that seemed to seep into the essence of their existence. Your strength is but a candle against the night. At that moment, Benedict felt a storm of doubt crash over him. The restless spirits were relentless in their mockery. Had they misjudged their powers? Could faith, despite its fervor, really stand against such malevolence? An icy tendril of fear slithered through his heart. But behind him, he sensed a gathering presence of monks, the townsfolk, like a great tide. With courage stirred by solidarity, he turned to face them. This darkness seeks to divide us. But we are destined to prevail, for the tiniest spark of God's love can set aflame even the deepest shadows. Together, they raised their voices again, this time with even greater fervor. The energy surged, and Benedict felt a profound awakening, as if the very stones beneath his feet sang along. The force of their unity began to ripple outward, chasing away despair. Suddenly, flickers of light sprang from the hearts of the faithful. It was as if the prayers themselves transformed into radiant threads, weaving a tapestry of light that seemed to surge toward the twisted forms of the children. "Return to your rightful place," Benedict cried, each word filled with the authority of heaven. "Let these children come back to God." For an instant, the laughter faltered, the spirits convulsed, the sinister forms wavering. In that moment of uncertainty for the darkness, something astonishing surged from the crowd, a cry that transcended mere sound, a raw, unfiltered plea born of hope, sorrow, and undying love. And yet, just when it seemed that liberation would overtake oppression, a malevolent roar pierced through the brilliance, shaking the very ground beneath them, as if the night itself resisted their efforts. The balance of light and dark hung tenuously, both sides bracing for the inevitable clash. Benedict grasped the hands of those beside him, their fingers intertwined like the roots of an ancient tree. "Brothers and sisters, do not falter. Never doubt the worth of your love. It is our greatest weapon." With the fire of renewed spirit, they pressed forth against the shadows, embodying the truth that even in the heart of the darkest hour, light differs only in the heart that chooses to believe. Yet there remained a question unvoiced, an uncertainty that loomed larger than the very presence of evil itself. What unseen price must be paid to rescue the innocent? How deep did the roots of darkness delve into the souls of the lost? As the reverberations of that ominous roar faded, a stillness enveloped the scene, once serene, unsettling calm, where hope met trepidation. The townsfolk, still linked hand in hand, cast their gaze upon the spectral forms that flickered before them. No longer did they see mere shadows. They discerned echoes of familiar faces twisted in anguish. The laughter had transformed into whimpers, revealing not only a vestige of their fright, but a glimpse into the sorrow they bore. "Let your eyes not waver," Benedict implored, drawing them closer with his fervent gaze. "Each child here holds a story, a longing to be seen, and a thirst for the love they once knew before darkness claimed them." As he spoke the truth of their collective identities, a soft hum began to rise amongst the people, a pulsing wave of spirit flowing as they recalled the vibrant laughter of their children, the laughter that once filled their homes. Each memory drawn forth kindled a unique flame of remembrance that pushed against the darkness. Together, they fanned this tender fire into an inferno of love and resilience. The air shimmered with a newfound energy as the weavings of their prayer transformed. Light surged for the raw, vibrant spectrum, piercing through the spectral haze that clouded their sight. In that stirring moment, they began to see beyond the specters that distorted the children's forms. The essence of each lost innocence glowed amidst the shadows, pleading for rescue, awaiting their own reflections of hope. But now, the dark laughter, though weakened, strained against them anew. "Foolish mortals," it jeered, the haunting sound laced with desperation. You think your memories will shatter my veil? You know nothing of the chains that bind them. They are woven deep into the very lifeblood of despair. Benedict felt an insistent pulse within him, one that pushed against reluctance and summoned forth unshakable conviction. But love is a chain breaker. Each chain holds a story, a fear, a pain, but it is love that transcends these fetters. And then, with fervor, he raised his voice even higher above the taunts. We call upon your spirits, return to us now, and be reborn through the love that created you. As those words echoed into existence, the people's memories intertwined as a melody, its harmony resonating down through the ages. The stories of laughter, tears, and warmth spun around the resonant connections forged by the divine thread of creation itself. Yet, within that whirlwind of light, on the fringes, the remnants of dark energy swirled with a sense of foreboding. What is love but a fleeting echo? It hissed. It cannot hold against the weight of unending night. Benedict, breathing in deeply, felt an ache in his heart that stirred both fear and compassion. Could it be that these spirits, once innocent, were now inseparable from their sorrow? Each tethered soul bore an unspoken pain, forged by loss and fractured dreams. He began to understand that to fight against the darkness, they must first acknowledge its source. Breathe with me. He called out to the crowd, raising his arms again in unison with the monks. For each breath carries the weight of our shared existence. Let us offer our own scars for their healing, our anguish for their freedom. In this moment, he tasted the bitterness of their plight. They, too, were tied to the mighty threads of suffering. Each person present was woven into the fabric of humanity where tragedy met love, loss intertwined with hope. Together, they inhaled, a collective intake of pain and grace, exhaling the weight of despair for the sake of the lost, and through their sacrifice, tendrils of light lifted from the ground, coiling around the struggling shadows of the children, intertwining even deeper into the essence of darkness itself. An unstable balance now existed, pulsating between light and shadow, love and fear. Yet, as they held fast to their prayer, uncertainty crept back into the fringes of their resolve. Would this sacrificial plea be enough to sever the bonds that entwined so many? What must they confront to claim the children fully? And what scars would remain upon their own hearts once the darkness was truly cast out? As the audience held their collective breath, the shimmering light began to dance erratically around the dark forms, flickering as though caught between worlds. The chant they had birthed together, a responsive harmony of longing and love, seemed to weave itself into the very fabric of the air, pressing against the bounds of reality. It felt both exhilarating and terrifying, for the veil between hope and despair seemed thinner than ever. Benedict watched the struggle from the center of this tempest, grappling with a rising awareness. The lost children were indeed trapped, not only by the encompassing darkness, but by their own relinquished hopes. Yet within the depths of his heart, he sensed the potential for liberation, a mystery laced within the connections forged by love and remembrance. Look, he urged, his voice rising above the tumult, recollect each smile you shared, each song sung in joy, each warm embrace. And as he spoke this, the townsfolk followed his lead, recalling more details forgotten like whispers in a crowded hall. The warmth of sunlit afternoons filled with laughter, the scent of freshly baked bread that ever greeted them at home, reverberated through their memories and began to spark a change in the spectral figures before them. Yet the dark voices still clung to the edges of the scene, a nagging reminder of their existence. Do you think the love lost is a light that can replace the shadows? How naive! They hissed, a cacophony of dread climbing higher with each fervent word of encouragement. The night has shaped them, and shaped you too. The people shuddered at the insinuation, contemplating how much darkness they had harbored in their own hearts, hours when fear had overthrown love. But it was at that moment of doubt that a fragile light flickered inside Benedict, a revelation igniting. Yes, we have known darkness, he conceded, but perhaps it is the very recognition of its grip that allows us to appreciate love's brilliant shine. With his heart racing, he grasped the hands of those nearest him, illuminating a spark of mutual grief and hope alike. Can we not acknowledge our own struggles, and in our togetherness find strength? He paused, letting the question hang in the air like the tension of anticipation. Can we allow our children, these precious souls, to feel the depth of our sincerity? And just then, a ripple of understanding swept through the crowd like wind over wheat. Their pain became not just theirs, but a shared burden. Tears began to flow, each drop a release of pent-up sorrow and a tribute to the lost. This act of vulnerability forged a greater bond than they had ever imagined. It was uncomfortable yet liberating. As the souls of the children danced within the spectral haze, their faces began to morph, revealing the innocence buried beneath the layers of sorrow. Yet the darkness, resentful of this reclamation, surged back violently, swirling and crashing against the budding light with desperate, frenzied energy. It didn't want to lose its grip. To fight the shadows, we must welcome them, Benedict exclaimed, surprising even himself. Not as enemies, but as parts of the whole. Can we bless the pain that once held us captive, so the children can find their way home? The townsfolk, emboldened by the unfolding truth, began to chant anew, a symphony of acceptance resonating louder, greater than fear. We embrace you, lost souls. You are not forgotten. The sound gathered momentum, and with it, vibrant fragments of memories illuminated the scene, each one as unique as the face of a child long lost. But as the chorus grew fierce and glowing, the malevolent energy coiling in the shadows seemed to writhe, emboldened by its own despair, pitchy claws gripping tighter around the remnants of innocence. You believe love can mend what is broken? How foolish! It laughed bitterly, and the very ground trembled with its mocking taunts. Benedict's spirit almost sank beneath the pressure, yet another thought flourished within. Perhaps the very acts of love we now undertake, these prayers, these confessions, are a testament to the struggle itself. Love is often forged in spite of adversity, is it not? And so, their faith intersected the dark narrative with the truth of their lives. Love had always been a radical force capable of breaking chains, for every wound could also become a vessel of healing. In that transient moment, uncertainty loomed again, as a question remained unasked. How would they, standing amidst shadows and light, navigate a world where both pain and joy coexisted? Would their newfound unity give rise to the strength needed to embrace what they feared the most, and ultimately, would it lead to the release of the children now entwined in this haunting dance between night and day? As the swelling chorus of acceptance echoed through the air, a new tension emerged. Benedict felt the raw power of the townsfolk's love enveloping the children's spirits, yet the darkness snaked ever closer, bringing with it a chill that stilled the fledgling warmth. Each antiphon spilled forth like an offering, resonating vibrantly, but within the heart of the upheaval, there flickered a deeper mystery, a question that whispered beneath the cacophony. Is it enough? Benedict thought to himself, his heart fluttering with unease. Can our love, strong as it may be, truly save them, or do we merely dance on the precipice of despair, hoping to pull them back? The shadows hung heavily in the atmosphere, their forms growing restless, vibrating with the strength of their own spite. From the depths of the void, a voice reverberated, "Foolish mortals! You believe yourselves to be architects of reunion, and yet you do not see the truth laid bare before you." It loomed larger, an arching dread curling around them, suffocating even the boldest of thoughts. These children echo a loss far deeper than mere separation. They are wrought from the fabric of despair, knitted into my very existence, bound by a yearning for what cannot be reclaimed. Benedict shivered, feeling the weight of the shadow's formidable presence merged within the cries and hopes of those gathered. The chilling reality of their situation anchored itself to him like a stone on his heart. Yet, as every member of the community grasped the hands of their neighbors, a surprising warmth ignited in their clasped fingers, a silent reminder that they were not alone. Could it be, he mused aloud, uncertain but hopeful, that our shared love infuses each thread of despair with breath, questioning the fabric's design? What if our memories of love have already sown seeds within these lost souls? Inspired by this fragile thought, he called upon the townspeople once more. Let us breathe life into their anguish. Let each exhale carry forth the weight of our grief. Let every pulse in our chests echo for those who cannot pound their own. The crowd inhaled deeply, and together they released their sorrow, a sound transcending the collective memory of their pain. As they poured their truths into the atmospheric cacophony of sorrow, joy, longing, and hope, it became a tapestry woven with both darkness and light. The children's forms began to flicker uncertainly, appearing at once closer, and yet more distant, the fabric of their beings stretched thin. A trembling flicker caught Benedict's eye, a shimmer that might have been a smile on a once innocent face. Could love truly shine forth in such darkness? Or were they merely stirring the shadows, awakening old wounds that had echoed through the ages? Just then, the very ground trembled as the darkness howled. You cannot touch the essence of their sorrow. It is mine. It bellowed, its tendrils lashing out. Yet with each terrified gasp, the townspeople reaffirmed their connection, their memories streaming together, swirling in a brilliant cascade that surged against the encroaching void. Hold fast, Benedict commanded, his voice amplifying against the chaos. As the terror escalated, so too did their resolve, awakening an ancient kinship nestled in their souls, a primal understanding that they were not merely fighting for the children, but for a reality yet unfathomable in its expansive love. Could it be that light and dark exist not as adversaries, but as partners in the dance of creation? Within their deepest sorrows lay the promise of transformation, and each voice joined in was yet another brush stroke in this universal artwork. As the maelstrom surged around them, hearts intertwined in a sacred circle, a singular question echoed even louder than the visceral battlefield surrounding them. What is the price of love, and is it worth the battles we must face to feel its full embrace? Benedict stood at the heart of the tumult, the air crackling with an intensity that threatened to unravel the very fabric of their gathering. As the shadows seethed and curled, he sensed a deeper truth teetering on the edge of his understanding, one that transcended mere gathering, and spoke to the essence of unbreakable bonds. Can light exist without darkness? He whispered, the question forming like a prayer upon his lips. The sound drowned beneath the howling winds of sorrow, but fluttered like a fragile moth in the night. Briefly illuminated by flickering hope, he remembered a teaching from the elders, who often spoke of the balance woven into existence, an intricate design where suffering and joy were not opposites, but two notes in a harmonious chord. Can we draw forth from this despair a melody of healing? He pondered, his heart heavy yet hopeful. The townspeople, trapped in the cyclone of anguish and longing, began to chant words that resonated with ancient wisdom, their tones intertwining and echoing through the encroaching dark. We are one! We are one! They volleyed back and forth, forming a resonant core of shared purpose that began to bleed into the void surrounding them. With each repetition of their phrase, Benedict felt the shadows falter, quaking as if struck by the force of their truth. Yes! Yes! Benedict exclaimed, pressing forward through uncertainty. Let them see. Shadows do not extinguish our light. They reveal its brilliance. As the community thrummed with renewed vigor, a bitter wind swept over them, chilling the air and snuffing out whispers of warmth. From the very edge of despair, he saw the specters of the children, slowly coalescing from the mists of sorrow, their forms flickering between life and absence, caught in the grips of that terrible hunger for love and belonging. For each cheer of unity, the shadows recoiled, but only momentarily. They were deeply entwined, a tapestry of longing and pain, and perhaps the shadows knew this truth better than he did. Drawing closer to the shimmering figures of the children, a cluster of vibrant laughter echoed from one young spirit, a sound so pure that it pierced the cloak of oppression surrounding them. It crackled in the air like fresh lightning, vivid and blinding, as if it had been hidden away for too long. Benedict's heart swelled. What if they are not lost? He questioned emotionally, clinging to this emerging thread of hope. What if they remain as guardians of the very love we seek to invoke? He started to recognize that they were not merely victims of darkness. They were sacred vessels, imbued with potential energies that could challenge both the fabric of despair and the essence of love itself. Join me! Join me! He urged the crowd, his voice blending with the resplendent laughter that now began to echo larger, wrapping seamlessly around the grimness trying to invade. The townsfolk began to mirror him, raising their spirits alongside those of the children, not merely calling for their return, but celebrating the silent bounties within those lost dreams. And in that sacred moment, as the energies converged, shadows shuddered and retreated just the slightest bit, revealing cracks of light. The children's forms started to solidify, revealing faces marred by sorrow yet glowing with a newfound spark of resilience. Each shimmer of brightness appeared to take strength from the townsfolk's unified love, their cries becoming invocations of joy. Yet amidst this burgeoning hope, an unsettling question hung in the air, almost palpable in its weight. What truths lie anchored in our suffering, and can we embrace them without losing ourselves? Benedict felt the landscape shift beneath his feet, the dance of light and dark swirling fiercely around him, and yet the essence of love remained steadfast, holding everything together even as uncertainty loomed just out of grasp. Benedict stood amidst the unfolding miracle, surrounded by blurred lines of reality and ethereal graces. The children, glowing softly like embers, lingered just beyond the reach of the world's despair, and their laughter resonated as a distant echo of untainted joy. In the depths of his heart, a prayer formed, rich with the weight of his longing. "O Lord, if it is your will, let love pierce through despair's veil and call the lost back home." The wind, still bitter, picked up these sacred words and carried them into the shadowed abyss. For a fleeting moment, it felt as if the very air listened, quivering with anticipation. The murmurs of unity from the townsfolk began to weave together in a deeper harmony, rising up like a symphony in the face of despair. "We are one! We are one!" They danced with fervor now, their voices echoing not just among themselves, but echoing through the heavens. As the community gathered around him, their resolve strengthened. They began to form a circle, hands intertwined, hearts open. When born of desperation, they had rallied in unison. Now, they embraced hope like an old friend. What did they truly seek within the confines of this battle? The reawakening of innocence, the reclamation of joy, the solidifying of bonds that even shadows dared not sever? Benedict turned his gaze towards the shimmering children, who now floated ever closer, their features becoming recognizable, eyes brimming with an ancient wisdom and faces turning in longing towards their beloved families. He was reminded of the parables of old, stories woven through sacred texts where loss had birthed restoration, where compassion had quenched wrath. Do you wish to come back to us?" he called out, uncertainty lacing his words. The children's shared laughter faded, replaced by an unsettling silence. A faint breeze passed through them, whispering secrets woven in the fabric of time. In those moments, the air thickened, and the shadows shifted as if drawn closer, eager to protect the sanctity of pain. Suddenly, from that silence emerged a voice soft and melodic, so familiar yet haunting. "Benedict." The voice of the eldest child, a boy named Eli, rang out, trembling with vulnerability. "We are not lost. We linger in the space where love awakens courage. But the darkness seeks to possess that love. It yearns to twist it into despair." These words transformed the air again. It was no longer merely a conversation but a revelation. The townsfolk shuddered, feeling the weight of Eli's truth settle upon their shoulders. In their unity, they had not just summoned light, but had dared to confront the very source of their suffering. Had they unwittingly drawn darkness near through their fear and longing? "Eli," Benedict whispered, eyes wide with understanding. What must we do?" The boy's laughter returned, echoing once more. "You must remember that tying our faiths to what we feel is lost can indeed anchor us to despair. But to gather around that light that which persists despite darkness can amplify love, expand hope, and banish the shadows." Benedict felt as if he were standing at the edge of a profound truth. The realization that every prayer uttered, every song sung, could become a vessel to defy despair resonated deep within him. The realization of harnessing their unity, a shared light that could become a beacon for all lost and broken. "Then we shall sing," he proclaimed, voice strong and full of conviction. "We shall let our voices blend, our spirits unite in a song of invincible light." As they began to sing, a piercing brightness began to radiate from the center of their circle. It pulsed like a heartbeat, rhythmic and enthralling. With each note, shadows curled and frayed at the edges, pushed back by the warmth of their collective spirit. Yet, even amidst this resurgence of hope, a palpable tension remained. The shadows, though retreating, still whispered secrets laced with uncertainty. What if our bonds awaken the darkness instead of driving it away? Benedict pressed his lips together and pondered, grappling with that unresolved question as the song wove a tapestry of light around them, a celebration of existence amidst the intertwining of shadows. In this moment, as the children twinkled with light, and the past echoed through cries of joy, one profound thought persisted. In our quest for love, what shadows must we confront, and can we remain unbroken? As the harmonies swirled like golden autumn leaves caught in a gentle breeze, a sense of unity enveloped the gathering. The song rose higher into the ether, lifting the spirits of all who participated, intertwining with the air thick with longing and hope. Yet amidst the radiant glow, Benedict felt a heaviness settle deep in his chest. He understood that the shadows might recede for a time, but wondered if they could truly be cast out entirely. "Eli," he called, pausing the collective voice hidden in song, "if love is our beacon, can it illuminate the darkest corners? Or do we risk awakening what we seek to banish?" The child, suspended in the fading light, regarded him with somber eyes, an ancient knowledge swirling within their depths. To love deeply, Benedict, is to engage fully with the nature of all things. Light cannot simply banish darkness. Instead, it reveals what must be faced. Murmurs rumbled through the townsfolk. Some wrestled with the meaning of those words, while others found a flicker of understanding in the midst of uncertainty. The even rhythm of the song had transformed into an unsettling dance, alive with questions and possibility. How could they venture into the complexities of love without inviting the shadows once more? Eli continued, his voice unwavering. "To awaken courage is to embrace vulnerability, recognizing that we may falter in our pursuit of light. But every stumble reveals grace anew." Benedict took in the boy's words, realizing they were indeed layered with a wisdom that transcended the innocence of childhood. He felt the weight of responsibility wash over him. Perhaps it was not merely enough to sing praises, but also to face the confrontation of despair with courage and acceptance. As the vibrant melody drifted into the nearing dusk, an unexpected gust of wind interrupted the moment, causing the townsfolk to shudder as they felt the chill crawling up their spines. A haze opaque and dense began to seep into their circle, replacing light with a foreboding cloud. The shadows, though temporarily repelled, were now curious, drawing ever closer, their whispers becoming more distinct. "See how your light flickers against the vastness of the night," they taunted, their voices a unison of dissonance. "In unearthing love, you may stir what lies within. Are you prepared to confront it, the shadow of your very own heart?" Benedict clenched his fists, feeling the palpable fear creeping back. But he glanced once more at Eli, whose face radiated the glow of fearless innocence, and drew from it a breath of courage. "We cannot retreat," Benedict declared, locking eyes with those gathered. "Our purpose is greater. We seek the love that transcends despair and beckons courage. If we truly wish to reunite with our lost, we must claim every part of ourselves, even the darkness. And in that declaration, the air crackled with a different energy. The song picked up again, a crescendo of strength interwoven with vulnerability. In that moment, Benedict realized something profound. To hold love tightly meant to also hold grief, fear, and remorse. Each note they sang did not just repel the shadows, but invited honesty into the space, daring to reveal the very human experience of every heart present. Yet, insecurities trembled within what awaited them on the other side of this unveiling. Would the truth drive them into deeper despair, or could it be the key to a freedom they had only dreamed of? The townsfolk clung to each other within their circle, voices rising higher, mingling together in an exploration of their fears and aspirations. The shadows, still cocooned in uncertainty, loomed nearer, echoes of past wounds lingering in the air. The thoughts pounded through Benedict's mind, resolute yet lingering with questions. As we sing of unity and love, are we prepared to face the shadows that dwell within us? Will the light prevail, or will the darkness draw us further into its grasp? With every breath, he felt the thrill of the unknown fluttering in his heart as they grasped the essence of their shared humanity, waiting to uncover the truth hidden within their song. Would they emerge renewed, or would the confrontation bring forth more sorrow? What lies ahead as they reach into the depths of both light and shadow to seek the complete truth? In the heart of the storm, beneath the veil of flickering shadows and radiant hope, Benedict stood tall alongside the assembled community, their voices rising into the night air in an unwavering chorus of unity. Together they invoked their love, their longing, and the remembrance of joy, woven through each note that pierced the suffocating darkness while still harboring the weight of their fears, faced the shadows. Benedict's voice surged forth, rallying the spirits as the chilling whispers danced around them, a haunting song fraught with echoes of uncertainty. We have summoned both light and love, the very essence of our being. And with it, we dare to confront whatever lingers in the shadows. The gathering inhaled deeply, drawing upon the raw strength of connection that pulsed between them, and exhaled as only an audible release that transcended the air like an invocation to the heavens. They were reminded of their shared humanity, the fragility that made them whole. As the darkness seemed to writhe against their efforts, the figures of the lost children began to stir, the spectral haze thickening, revealing glimpses of radiant eyes filled with fear and longing. The dissonant laughter faded, replaced by soft sounds of yearning. Benedict, with a steady heartbeat echoing through his chest, stepped forward. We see you. We hear your cries. Eli, he called out, directing his energy toward the eldest of the spirits. Guide us into this unveiling. Let us understand both you and your sorrow. With a flicker of understanding, Eli floated closer, his essence shimmering with a spectral light. You wish to reclaim that which belongs to you, he said, and in his voice was the cadence of love intertwined with gentle sadness. But you must accept all of us, the joy and the pain that created who we are. The darkness cannot merely be evicted. It must be redeemed. In that moment of clarity, a powerful realization swept over the assembly. To truly embrace their lost children, they must first accept the complexity of their own hearts and imperfections, the shattered dreams, and the scars that accompanied every soul. Love was not an ethereal state. It was messy, laden with sacrifice, waiting to unveil the beauty nestled within brokenness. Benedict felt courage swell within him, growing as he raised his arms, the community following suit. We are one with all aspects of love, joy, and sorrow. We acknowledge the burdens we carry. The words flowed from his heart, cascading like melodies, harmonizing with the chants of those surrounding him. They were allowing their wounds to become a part of the light they sought, transforming pain into a binding prayer of restoration. Embrace the shadows, he cried, his voice reverberating through the very fabric of the realm, a call rooted in faith. It is through acceptance we transcend. Bring forth the essence of this struggle. Light is our depth that gives rise to love's fullest expression. We do not seek to deny any part of our experience. With the outpouring of this truth, The spectral form shimmered with renewed vigor, light converging upon the children, illuminating the essence that radiated from within. For a heartbeat, time stood still. Walls constructed through grief began to crumble as the light surged forth, a wave of luminescence filling the space where darkness once loomed. The shadows curled and quivered, their whispers growing faint as they imploded upon themselves. The children's laughter echoed anew, a sound of innocence reclaimed, interwoven with the threads of shared sorrow. As the tide of love surged, a radiant beam of unadulterated joy enveloped the community, glistening with the freedom birthed from facing their intertwined agony. And then, suddenly, they understood. The struggle brought them closer. It ignited a newfound purpose to guide not only the lost children home, but to also reconcile with their own shadows, paving the way for healing. From darkness, we become light, Benedict proclaimed, voice emboldened with the fervor of realization. It is through our unity that love flourishes. We stand not in opposition, but as guardians of both joy and despair, illuminating the path for those who wander in the night. The very air shimmered, and as one, they lashed out against the remnants of fear, threads of light winding around the shadows, pulling them upward toward the heavens. The children flickered closer, their forms stabilizing, laughter intertwining with prayers, a joyous exclamation of their return. At last, as if responding to their unified love, the dark specters receded, shrinking into mere tendrils before falling away entirely like ashes blown from the hand. The children stood revealed, a spectrum of radiant joy glowing with the warmth of homecoming. Eli was victoriously present, standing amongst the beloved crowd, eyes sparkling with the grace of reclaimed life. We are home, they echoed, voices resounding like a heavenly chorus above, soaring higher and higher, igniting a triumphant spirit across the gatherers. Yet, even as elation surged through the crowd, a solemn understanding settled within Benedict's heart. They had confronted the darkness, embraced it, and yet they knew the journey did not conclude here. Would they continue to protect this fragile unity built upon acceptance and love? Would they carry this revelation into the world beyond the monastery? Then, in a wave of stillness, the air shimmered with powerful clarity. Let this be our legacy, Benedict declared to all present, for every soul redeemed stands as a testament to love's undeniable strength. The power that emerges from our depths renders both love and bravery eternal. Let us be the light, for with every shadow acknowledged, we rise to become beacons in the night everlasting. So, as the last echoes of the night blended into dawn, the townspeople held tight to their newfound understanding, a revelation that transcended the struggle, intertwining light and shadow in a tapestry of hope that would last through the ages. Their faith was stronger, now tempered with the purity of acceptance and love, and thus, as the sun broke through the horizon, casting golden rays over Italy, they marched forth united, prepared to light the path for others seeking refuge from darkness, guiding lost children back into the reassuring embrace of love, an enduring reminder that both light and shadow exist not as enemies, but as co-creators of the magnificent mosaic called life. In time, all who heard the story would understand that to love in fullness was not merely to seek the light, but to embrace every shade along the way. It was in the dance of both that faith flourished, drawing each soul closer to the sacred heart of creation, a sacred formula of love that transcended time itself. Thus ended the chapter of Benedict's struggle, but the testament of love's boundless power would continue on forever, echoing across the hearts of those who dared to believe.